Every few years, the same question explodes across the Pokemon world. Is the card market crashing? Prices are dipping, collectors are panicking, and YouTubers everywhere are talking about a Pokemon bubble burst. So what's real? I dug through the data, the listings, and the forums. So today we're going to be going over what's true, what's hype, and what this means for collectors like you. Let's rewind for a second. Between 2020 and 2022, the Pokemon market exploded. People were at home, nostalgia was high, and TikTok and YouTube made every big pull feel like it was a lottery win. A sealed box that sold for $150 one month was flipping for $800 the next. But markets never move in straight lines. And now we're finally seeing the other side of that wave. So are Pokemon cards actually dropping in price right now? Well, yes and no, because some parts of the market are softening, especially modern cards like Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, and high print booster boxes. Cards that were selling for $300 or $400 at peak hype are now sitting closer to around $200 or even less. We're also seeing a lot more graded cards flood the market as people cash out, and that's driving prices down further for mid-tier slabs. But at the same time, some cards are still rising. Vintage base holos, rare promos, and super limited chase cards. Those are holding strong or even trending up. So this isn't a collapse, it's a reshuffling really. This is what a correction looks like. For 2 years, demand has been insane, and the Pokemon Company printed more cards than they ever have before to keep up. Fast forward to today, and we're seeing the impact of that oversupply. More product in circulation, more reprints, and more sellers are all fighting for the same buyers. Add in a cooling economy, higher living costs, and people spending less on collectibles, and you have the perfect recipe for a short-term price drop. Here's where people get it wrong. A crash means panic selling, total market collapse, and no buyers. A correction means the market is adjusting, that prices are coming down to a realistic level after being overheated. And we've seen this before. Pokemon corrected in 2000 after the first boom, and it does almost every 4 years, but we saw it more recently in 2017 after Pokemon Go, and then again after the pandemic. Each time, the hobby doesn't die, it matures. It sheds speculation and keeps the true collectors. So what should you watch if you want to understand where the market's headed next? If sealed boxes and ETBs keep sliding, that means oversupply is still really strong. When those stabilize or creep back up, that's a sign of recovery. Number 2, the graded card premiums. Keep an eye on PSA 10 versus raw card price gaps. When those gaps widen again, confidence is returning. Because right now, a PSA 9 is essentially the same price as a raw card. Watch print runs and reprints. When the Pokemon Company slows reprints or they move into a new era, the older sets often rebound, so watch official announcements closely. Search data, YouTube views, Reddit activity, if interest starts picking up again, prices usually follow. You also need to pay attention to buying patterns, because when collectors focus more on personal favorites than quick flips, that means the market's stabilizing. If you're in this hobby for the long haul, these are all things you should be tracking and not panic headlines. Here's my take for what it's worth. This is not a crash, and this is not the end of the Pokemon market. This is the start of a smarter one where people are staying in the hobby and into collecting longer, and they start understanding those cyclical trends, and they quit panicking and reading all the headlines that are trying to scare them. Prices aren't free falling, they're finding balance. And for collectors, right now is a time that you can pick up some of the cards that you want without overpaying. For investors, it's your reminder, the time to buy isn't when everyone's hyped, it's when everyone is scared. But in the end, if you're gonna be somebody who's in this for the hobby or the fun or the love of the card art, then don't be scared. But if you're in it for investing, maybe be scared, I don't know. If you found this helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment below with your take. Are we headed towards a crash or just a reset? And as always, thank you guys so much for your support. Love all of you guys, and we'll see you next time.